Recording in 3, 2, 1. All right, yeah. Man, I miss this music.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've heard it.
Sure has, but we are back.
Yes, welcome to Radius's podcast.
Yes, Center to the Edge. I am Blake, and you are
Amanda.
And we are the host.
Let me introduce myself to you now.
Yes, nice to meet you. I know, right? Man, it has been a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, so we were thinking back, and our last podcast was at the beginning of 2024 summer, and that was
A lot's changed.
Yeah, my
lots
hospital
happened.
things.
Yes.
2 hurricanes.
Good night.
Radius had a 10th birthday in there.
Yep.
Biggest Thanksgiving drive
Come
ever.
on. Yep.
So it's been a minute.
It's been a minute, but it's been a busy minute.
Yes, it has. And we did want to say that Blake and I are interested in sitting down and breaking down the lessons from the hospital and all God taught us in that space. So stay tuned. That will be a soon-to-come podcast.
Yeah, I think it's kind of some distance now to look back and really help put some words around what we learned.
Right.
Yeah.
And so coming to today, though, it's about to be Easter. So it was time to get back on the microphones.
Yes.
And so a couple weeks ago, we had somebody from Radius come and ask us, okay, I know what surrender looks like. I've heard the word always growing up in church and even at Radius, but I really want a how-to checklist almost of how to surrender to God. And I thought, man, let me process that, because that's, I know spaces that I've done that in my life, but could I give somebody a 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
This is how you surrender.
Yeah. And looking to Jesus, right, and saying, okay, did he give us a pattern or example of surrender?
Right. And so as we were approaching Easter, we knew Passion Week, we really see Jesus completely embody what surrender looks like.
That's right.
And so we wanted to break that down and put that out right before Easter as a preparatory space. I kept going there.
I like it.
I think that wasn't the right phrase.
Well, it's all right. You knew. I knew. We're good.
And so this podcast is called How to Surrender to God, a how-to from lessons with Jesus in Passion Week.
That's good. That's good. So, like, where at?
You think that's a long title?
I think a long title. It's a title.
Working title.
Working title. That's right. A title in progress. Process. But a lot that's happened. I feel like you said. I think Passion Week really, from beginning to end, really is so much about surrender. But I think where we're going today is a specific place that really does give us that answer to what is the practical steps of what does it look like for you and me to surrender.
Perfect. So this is all taken from scripture of Jesus walking in that last week on earth, really the last few days. So the first thing that is true for me, it is true for Blake, and it is an example in Jesus, is first thing to surrender, get alone with God.
Mm-hmm.
Get alone with God. In Gethsemane, Jesus separated himself from the crowd and even from most of the disciples. Why? To be alone with God the Father. And so surrender, I believe, really starts in solitude, in a space of quiet.
Yeah.
Because you're about to have some very real conversations with God in surrender. Because nobody asks about how to surrender when it's easy.
Yeah, that's right.
So how do I surrender to the yacht that you want to give me, Jesus?
Yeah.
No, how do I surrender in these hard spaces? So in those hard spaces, the first thing you want to do is you want to get alone with God so you can hear his voice so clearly, and you need to make space to hear God's voice above your own, because your own will not want to go into hard spaces.
It's good.
So I'm going to need to hear God's voice to know what is right, what is wrong here.
Yeah. Silence other voices, all the stuff, the noise. That's really good. And give context of where we're finding this in the Passion Week. This is after the upper room where they're having dinner with her friends, his friends, and they're actually in the garden right before he's being betrayed and arrested, right? And so he's in the garden, he's praying, and that's a really good, getting alone. Surrender is, I love what you said, surrender is started in solitude. The thing that I see is really, not only is it about solitude, it's about being honest with the struggle. What I really love is that Jesus is not wooden in this or just super hyper religious, like, I know I am coming, but I can't express some of the fears and feelings that I have, and Jesus does. It says he was overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. That means, that's what it says in Matthew 26. He prayed honestly. He said this, Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. The road to surrender doesn't mean pretending you're fine. I think that's really important. I think sometimes we struggle with surrender because we feel like we just have to say the right thing. We can't be real. And if we have any doubts or fears in surrender, then we're not really surrendering. But Jesus is honest. He's like, if this is hard. I'm emotionally struggling here with this.
And I think we've both shared, let's reflect on the year. I mean, we've both shared specifically with my health journey and the wrestle of that you and I both have had some real struggle and real honest conversations with God.
Yeah.
And those aren't always, honestly, those aren't always for public consumption.
Yeah.
Because those sometimes are rough with God. I was in a group this past week and somebody was like, half of my prayers I wouldn't want anybody to hear because I'm yelling and even cursing at God.
Yeah.
And frankly, I loved that honesty because that's real.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all agree we don't want to stay there.
No, that's not the point.
That's a movement forward thing. But if I'm not real with him, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
To pray to a God that we don't even realize knows our thoughts already, knows our heart, knows our intentions. And so why would you pray to somebody who is that weak? But no, we pray to a God who knows all things.
That's right.
Who can do all things. And so he's not afraid or worried or doesn't have the strength to carry your burdens.
Yeah. We don't have to be fake. We can be real. We can share our fears, our desires, our doubts, and that does not exclude us or keep us from surrender.
So one, make space for quiet and alone so you can hear.
2.
Are you doing Count from Sesame Street right now?
I didn't realize it, but yes,
I am.
1, 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't do that the rest of it.
Be honest about the struggle. Number 3 is pray, right? Which seems basic, but then yield. And I love that because Jesus didn't talk only. He surrendered. He said, yet not as I will, but as you will. Let this cup pass from me, but at the end of the day, it's not what I want. It's what you want. This is a turning point in, I think, all conversations about surrender. I'm going to pour out. I'm going to yell. I'm going to scream. I'm going to get real with God. And you get to decide.
Yeah. I surrender my will.
That's right. And surrender means letting go of control, even when we don't understand the plan, which, let's be honest, we never understand the plan. So surrender is saying, I'm not in control. You are. And I don't even have a blueprint for what this looks like. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And even Jesus, I think he understood what the end goal was, even as we do in our lives, that yes, this is for good, but I really need to surrender in this part that's hard. And I think so we see that. We see getting alone. We see being honest in our struggle. We see pray and then yield, right?
Yes.
I love that you don't stay in the prayer of asking. You finally say, okay, God, I'm going to and I'm going to lay down my will. It's your will be done. I think 4 is staying obedient in the waiting. And I think this is a hard one. It really is. I mean, I think up to this point, we're like, okay, I need to get some time with God. And 2, okay, I'm hearing I can be real. And then 3, I need to pray. I need to say my will be done. Not my will, but yours be done, Lord. But It's when after that yield that we stay there in obedience. You think about Jesus. After he prayed, he didn't run. He stayed. He knew what was coming next. He knew the betrayal was coming in that very garden where he yielded.
Yeah.
Yet he didn't run. He stood in obedience through the betrayal, through the injustice, through the silence and the suffering. I mean, you see him at trial, and he's not defending himself. He is willingly sitting in this place of obedience to what God's will was. And surrender isn't always a one dramatic moment, right? It's a continual.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a continual place, and it may be in our life in a moment or every minute or every hour, or every day. We wake up and say, "Okay, I surrender it again to you," because I think there's a tendency in our human life to. We surrendered it, and then we pick it back up. We start to worry and stress.
I mean, you said it. It's a way to keep saying yes.
Yeah.
To keep saying yes to the hard things is part of surrender.
That's it. And that I think is the practical application steps of surrender. It's continuing to say yes every day. There's going to be new thoughts come in. There's going to be new things that tempt you to deal with fear and run from it, or to take back control of it, or to pick it back up. And that's human and that's natural. But it's in that moment that you say, nope, I've surrendered. I released it again. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Okay, we're on number 5.
5.
Are you doing
I didn't do count that time.
Okay.
Well, I did that. That was sorry. I had a little.
5 is forgive on the way. And I love this because from the very cross, Jesus said, Father, forgive them. Frankly, when Judas kissed him, he said, do what you're going to do. When Peter tried to slice off the ear of one of the people trying to arrest Jesus, but then Jesus put the ear back on.
Not going to happen.
Jesus said, stop. If you're going to live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. Like, that's not who we are. We're not those violent people. It's kind of that whole Romans 12. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Even in that space, Jesus is giving us that example. And so all the way to the cross, you see Jesus forgiving and processing out forgiveness. And then on the cross, we see him say that with this very small reservoir of breath that he has.
Yeah.
He uses that to say forgive them. And I love that. So part of surrender is releasing others. I love this thought. You can't carry the cross and resentment.
That'll preach.
And I think
that's good. Y'all need to write that down.
You can't carry the cross. Okay. It's also, I already wrote it down for you on the paper.
I am highlighting it.
But you can't carry the cross and resentment. And that is why forgiveness is so intertwined with surrender, because really what you're saying is not just that I surrender to this moment, but I also give you permission in my past and all the things that have happened. I surrender those moments too. I surrender future. I surrender these people and what they deserve to you. So forgiveness and surrender are so intertwined. And I think until we sat and really talked about this and really processed this out, I don't think I ever really would have put that into words. But it is absolutely necessary to surrender, is to forgive.
Can I say this? Also,
yes,
forgiveness doesn't have to start after you've already processed and are done with it. I think forgiveness can start still in the midst of pain. Like, you're still hurting. You think about it. Jesus is crucified on the cross. They've just nailed him, and he is in great pain, and he's already saying, Father, forgive them.
Yeah.
Not that for us as humans, we can have that immediate release of forgiveness, but beginning the process and the speaking out and really trying to embrace forgiveness, even when the pain of what was happened to us is not finished yet.
Yeah. And what is so amazing to me about that, when you say that, is that Jesus spoke that not just in forgiveness, but to teach us.
Yes.
This is what forgiveness looks like in the middle of your pain, releasing resentment so that you can truly surrender.
So good.
If he had not released people in that space, the cross looks differently.
Yeah. I mean,
but he said, like, God gets my spirit. This isn't about these people. I'm doing it for them. But ultimately, God is in control.
Yeah, that's so good. And man, that might be a message sometime in the future. Looking at the cross is a teaching, another teaching to learn about who we're meant to be.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, and then last is number 6. We've gone through 5. 6 is entrust yourself to God. It's kind of that carrying on this idea of not my will but yours, but releasing. It's this idea at the very end, Jesus cried out, Father, into my hands I commit my spirit. Then that was the final breath of surrender. He said, Lord, okay, I've walked through surrender. I've emotionally processed it. I have prayed through it. I have yielded in it. And now I'm finally really letting go completely. God, I yield my complete self to you. No more fear, just trust.
Yeah.
Complete.
And when you really look at the last week of Jesus, specifically the last from the garden to the cross, you understand that surrender isn't weakness.
That's right.
That it's strength redefined. This is what strength really looks like.
Yeah.
Is understanding and releasing what you think ideal of control.
Yeah.
And that was Jesus's example his whole life, but specifically so easy and so in our faces about surrender in that last week. And what is surrender? It's saying not my will and then living that out,
so
living
good.
like you mean that.
And in this place of surrender came the ultimate victory and the ultimate win. And I think we can remember that surrender in life, like you said, it's not a weakness. It's redefining strength. It is through surrender that we experience the greatest victory now and in the future.
Yeah, because I love that, because we wrote this down and I want you to hear it because it's good. Because when you lay your life down, God will raise it up.
Yes.
That is resurrection.
Yes.
And you can't get to your resurrection space until you crucify yourself.
That's right.
Lay down
That's
your
right.
life, pick up Christ's cross. That crucify, nevertheless, I live, right?
Yeah. Not I, that Christ lives in me. And I mean, yeah. So some of us today, we're struggling with things that we're trying to surrender to. And here's the truth. Taking these steps and beginning to apply them.
Let's go through them really fast.
Yeah,
1,
do
2.
that. Yeah.
Number 1, get alone with God. Number 2, be honest about the struggle.
Yep.
Number 3, pray, then yield. Number 4, stay obedient even in the waiting. Number 5, forgive on the way. Forgive in the process. Number 6, entrust, give yourself to God.
Yeah, we do that. And here's what the thing. Resurrection is guaranteed in your relationships, in your own internal being of self-worth. It's all, the resurrection's promise, but it really is on the other side of surrender. And so if nothing else that will propel you and just inspire you to surrender, may that be it, that there is resurrection.
But it's the empty tomb. It's the empty tomb on the other side of the cross.
That's right. And that's why to this Sunday, man, we are celebrating Easter. It is celebrating the eternal salvation, but it is also celebrating the promise of life after dead spaces.
Amen.
And so we can't wait. We hope to see you here. We have 3 gatherings this Sunday. We have at 8 a.m. We have a 9:30 change of plan, and then we have an 11. It's going to be great. Well, we look forward to seeing you guys. Hey, it's a great week to invite a friend. It's going to be fun.
Let's go.
Look forward to seeing you there.
Let's go.
See you guys. Love y'all.